this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin vs. the World. I'm SeptumSin. As you can see, I am in quarantine mode. Of course, I still work. I do a lot of teleworking, and of course, because of that, dress code's a little bit laxer because they're not seeing me. But it also meant that I had some delays. But I don't want us to miss a stroll if we can, and we are actually in round 3 of our stroll videos. That's pretty awesome. So of course we are in our 3rd Criterion. We have some wonderful ones to show you, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try and do this quick and easy. There's not going to be a lot of editing. I'm just no energy for editing. It's all going into just the filming section. So we will continue. So first we have City Lights, which is Charlie Chaplin film. A very pleasant film. Really enjoyable. Let's see here. This one, of course, is one of his little tramp films. It was done in 1931. So, with this silent tale, a lovable vagrant falling for a young blind woman who sells flowers on the street and mistakes him for a millionaire, though this Depression-era smash was made after the advent of sound, Chaplin remains steadfast in his love for expressive beauty of the pre-talkie form. So, this was probably one of the later silent films of the time. Let's take a look at what we got here. Of course, we have our discs kind of stacked like this. I'm just going to take one off. There's no real disc art in the back. I mean, there's disc art, but there's no real background art. But you can see that, and of course the stuff here. They got a huge book with the essay and such on it, which you can see here. Kind of folds out. So you get to see a lot about that, some interviews and essays. There is a little bit of art on the back there. So what comes with this? I love these Charlie Chaplin releases because they usually come with some of his old stuff, short films. But let's see here. On here, of course, you've got your transfer. This is a Blu-ray. And we have new audio commentary by Charlie Chaplin biographer Jeffrey Vance. Chaplin Today, City Lights, a 2003 documentary on the film. Charlie Chaplin, Creative Freedom by Design, new interview program featuring visual effects by Craig Barron. Archival footage from the production of City Lights, including film from the set, with audio commentary by Chaplin historian Human Mahran. A costume test, a rehearsal, and a complete scene not used in this film. Excerpt from Chaplin's short film, The Champion, along with footage from director with Boxing Stars Chaplin Studios in 1918. Trailers, 1 Blu-ray, and 1 DVD with all the content available in both formats, plus a booklet featuring essay by critic Gary Giddens, and a 1966 interview with Chaplin. it's kind of cool to see. 1966 wasn't that long ago. Well, okay, it's been a while. But still, that's kind of cool that he was alive back in those days. My parents, when they were alive, Chaplin was still alive in some points. So that's kind of cool. So this next one is Crumb. This one I have a very interesting history with. My father loves this documentary. This is a documentary of the independent comic artist Robert Crumb. It's kind of dark, but so is the man himself and his family. It is an interesting documentary, and because he showed it to me many times. There's there. And a lot of this is an example of his one brother who has psychosis, or had psychosis because he killed himself. But how kind of a lot of his stuff kind of scribbled around here, which is actually pretty common when you're dealing with mental illness, especially in regards to this sort of thing. So it's kind of cool to see that. And you see these this kind of drawings. They have an example of the talent test that they have in the documentary. So it's kind of cool. You get to see you get to see his you get to see his brother's entry into it. So, as you can see, they've got some some interesting results there. And of course your booklet with your essay. So, that was art by his other brother who did not do art when growing up. He had some sort of seizure and then started drawing, which was kind of cool. So on this, we have, let's see here, 2 audio commentaries with Swygoff from 2010 and with Roger Ebert in 2006. More than 50 minutes of unused footage in a stills gallery. So not a ton, but still a decent number of editions for an interesting yet dark documentary. Our next one is one that kind of came out. This is the first release of this film, which was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which is a film with Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett. Essentially, it's about this guy who was born really old, and as he got older, he would get younger. It's a very interesting and whimsical tale, also filled with some very depressing stuff. So, of course, this is the DVD version. Again, there's not much there in the background. I really like this film. It was a very good film. So let's take a look here at what extras there are. This is an example of what Jake and I would say Criterion should not do, which was, this is the immediate release of the film. So you'd think there wouldn't be a lot, but there are some stuff on here. There's interviews with Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett, audio commentary featuring David Fincher, footage revealing the innovative techniques behind the Academy Award-winning visual effects makeup, step-by-step examination of the motion capture process aging Brad Pitt, in-depth exploration of David Fincher's creative process, interview with accelerated composer Alexander Desplat, featurettes on the film's storyboards, costumes, and Academy Award-winning art direction, stills galleries, including costume design, candid behind-the-scenes production photos, optional French and Spanish dubbed tracks. And, of course, your essay. Gotta have an essay if it's Criterion. So our next one here is a film called Day and Night. This one did not stick out to me, even though I love the art on the cover. This is beautiful. I love this here. Of course, not a lot to be had here, but a kind of cool looking booklet. Again, I love the art work on this. That continues in the essay, fold out, maybe not book. So let me read you what this is about, because my memory is rusty. It's a 1973 film. This affectionate farce from Francois Truffaut about the joys and strife of movie making is one of the most beloved films. Truffaut himself appears as a harried director of a frivolous melodrama, the shooting of which is plagued by the whims of a neurotic actor, an aging but still forceful Italian diva, and a British ingenue haunted by personal scandal. On this, this is again Blu-ray edition here. We have the essay, of course, new interviews with Glenn and assistant editor Martine Baroque, new interview for film scholar Dudley Andrew, documentary on the film from 2003, featuring film scholar Annette Insdorf, archival interviews from director Francois Truffaut, editor Yann Didet, and actor Jean-Pierre Aumont, Nathalie Bay, Jacqueline Bisset, Danny and Bernard Menet. Archival television footage about the film, including footage of Truffaut on set, trailer, and new translation. So, that's always kind of cool. They usually try and get the best translations for these. They'll even redo it if they need to, which is kind of cool to see. Now this one, I love the way this looks. And this is an awesome film. It's a coming-of-age type film. You really just have to see it to believe it, and that is Dazed and Confused. Now, I love this. This is really solid, and the DVD version is exactly like this. But look at this. I love that. This right here kind of pulls away, and you got this. They did a lot with this version. I mean, whoop! There goes the booklet. There you go. Not a lot on the disc art, but it's still kind of cool. All of the art that went into this. If you haven't seen this, I am surprised that we did not get Dazed and Confused up. You've got a poster in here, just so you can see it. And since these posters rarely ever get hung up, you'll see posters hung up, but they're posters I've purchased for the pure hanging. So you get to actually see what they look like. Because, I don't know, are y'all the kind that if you get a poster in a limited set like this, that you hang it up? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. Let me put this the right way around, because I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to be. There we go. And then we'll slide this back in. Just such a cool thing, and it feels really solid too. I imagine it is solid, but just really a cool addition here. So let's see what we got on here. So it's 35th anniversary of the film. High definition transfer, audio commentary featuring Linklater. Making Dazed and Confused, a 50-minute documentary by Kahine Korn. Rare on-set interviews and behind-the-scenes footage from 10-year anniversary celebration, audition footage and deleted scenes, original theatrical trailer, plus a booklet featuring the essays of Kent Jones, Jim de Rogatis, and Chuck Klosterman. So, some pretty cool stuff in this. I really enjoyed this. I'm kind of glad that I have this in here. Now we're going on to one that we've covered, by the way, on Inside Movies Galore, which is Duska Done. There's a lot of films that are interesting. This is Kurosawa's work that just kind of go over the haves and the have-nots. And Duska Done is a good example of that. About these people who are kind of living in the junkyard and their existence as it is. And this is the guy kind of pretends he's got a vehicle and he's driving it. This is the page here. I love the artwork again. It's just kind of cool to look at with your essays and so on. It's a very deep film. If you want to know more about the film, you should check out the Inside Movies Galore podcast that has that stuff in it. So let's talk about this. On here, of course, Akira Kurosawa, It's a Wonderful to Create, a 36-minute documentary created in part by Toho Masterwork series about the making of Duska Done. And it even has an interview from Kurosawa on it. Theatrical trailer, and of course, that new translation. Not a lot on that disc, but the documentary is cool to have. So this one is a Blu-ray, and that is Don't Look Now. Woohoo! I saw this one not too long ago as well, because it is considered it's one of those that's in the running of the being called the first slasher film. This is more of a mystery drama than a slasher, but a lot of people say this is one of those precursors of something like your Jason and your so on. I didn't care as much for it. Now, this is also the essay. I thought it was a little bit boring, but still, it is an important film, so having it is still quite important. It's 1973. So we have a new conversation between editor Graham Clifford and film writer and historian Bobby Osteen. Don't Look Back. Looking Back, a short 2002 documentary featuring the cinematographers. Death in Venice, a 2006 interview with the composer. Something Interesting, a new piece on writing making the film, featuring recent interviews with Richmond actors Julie Christine and Donald Sutherland. Nicholas Rugg, Enigma Film, a new piece, Q&A, and a trailer. So, if you want to know what this is about, I'll go ahead and go through this for you. Let's see here. Donald Sutherland and Julie Christine mesmerize as a British married couple on an extended trip to Venice, following a family tragedy with that elegantly decaying city. They have a series of inexplicable, terrifying, and increasingly dangerous experiences. A lot of intrigue and kind of weird cult-like things going on in the background. You have to see it to understand it. Speaking of see it to understand it, we have the DVD of the David Lynch's masterpiece, Eraserhead. I could not, not get this. David Lynch is a master in his own right. So, of course, this one would have something in the background and 2 discs. So we will start by showing that off. Then I will show the bottom disc. And then I will show the top disc once I get it on here, so you can see it as it's supposed to be seen. And of course, our Eraserhead booklet. A lot of writing about this particular film. It needs a lot because it is very confusing. I love weird stuff, and usually this stuff really gets me going, but this one left me to that head scratcher. I'll need to watch it again. This was his 1977 was his debut, A cult sensation, a work of extraordinary craft and beauty, with this mesmerizing black and white photography by Frederick Elms and Herbert Cardwell, evocative sound design, and unforgettably enigmatic performance by Jack Nance. This visionary nocturnal odyssey continues to haunt American cinema like no other film. So on it, we have Eraserhead Stories, a 2001 documentary by Lynch, making the film. 6 short films by Lynch. 6 Men Getting Sick, 1967. The Alphabet, 1968. The Grandmother, 1970. The Amputee, version 1 and 2, 1974. And Premonitions Following an Evil Deed, 1995. All with introductions by Lynch. New documentary featuring interviews with actors and cinematographer. Archival interviews with Lynch and members of the cast and crew. And the trailer. So, there you go. For you Eraserhead and Lynch fans. Now here's one that I have not watched, but my wife owns, which is Fat Girl. Of course, it's got some pretty cool stuff on here. It's actually got a little Criterion booklet in here, so you can order stuff, which is pretty cool. Of course, you got your artwork here. There you are. With your essay. Gotta have your essay. And your disc art there. So, 12-year-old Anise is fat. Her sister, Elena, is a teenage beauty. While on vacation with her parents, Anise tags along with Elena as she explores the dreary seaside town. Elena meets Fernando, an Italian law student who seduces her with promises of love. And ever-watchful Anise bears witness to the corruption of her sister's innocence, precise and uncompromising. So, what do we have here? Behind-the-scenes footage, 2 interviews with the director, and including a look at the film's alternate ending, the French and U.S. trailers, new and improved English subtitle translation. So, there you go. Last one. So this one is probably one of my favorite, also in the stack, and that is Gojira! Ha ha ha! So, let's take a look at this masterpiece here. You got a picture of him sitting there when he got the water bombed. Woo! I love this little pop-up. Whoop, whoop. Of course, you've got Tokyo burning in the background, if you can see, with the Blu-ray disc there. So, of course, you've got your booklet. Gotta have your essay. Gotta have the essay. I really want that Godzilla set. I just don't have the money for it right now, but I will. Oh, yes, I will. So, let's see what we've got here. So, we have here the Japanese version Godzilla and the Americanized King of the Monsters. So, you've got both of them. I really enjoy both, and I love the cheesy English soundtrack for the original, for the original American one. But we have the restoration of both. Let's see here. Audio commentary by film historian. New interviews with actors Akira Takarada and Horo Nakajima, and special effects technicians. Interviews with legendary Godzilla composer. Featurette detailing Godzilla's photographic effects, introduced by special effects director and special effects photographer. New interviews with the Japanese film critic Tadao Sato, The Unluckiest Dragon, an illustrated audio essay featuring historian Greg Okay, I can't pronounce that one. Describing the tragic fate of the Finnish fishing vessel Daigo Fukuryu Maru, a real-life event that inspired Godzilla. Trailers of Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. So, which is pretty cool there, and you have that new translation. So you got some really fun stuff. I'm hoping one day to get us to watch Godzilla. That's going to be a really cool thing. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this stroll down Criterion Lane, but I got a lot of filming to do, so I'm going to have to see you on the next one. Bye.